a forklift?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a
Hey,
tutti.
Hey Juventini, welcome back to the AJC. It is here, June 4th, Udinese, Juventus. We're going to preview the final match day of the season, and I can already see it in the chat. A lot of relief that we could just put this one because it has been a season to forget. Unfortunately for us, a lot of turmoil off the pitch and not being able to figure out our best on it. Yeah, we're all feeling that. But it has still been a pleasure, like Apex put it, hanging with the AJC Army, Forza Juve, Fino alla fine. A lot of changes to come, I anticipate, starting tomorrow. And I'm going to basically empty the clip on everything I've heard for the past couple weeks and just lay it all out there. And we're going to see what comes to fruition. I got Lucci with me. I got Omer. Fellas, how you guys doing? I know Omar's doing good, talking about Israel there, getting the job done against Brazil in the U20 World Cup, riding that high. Lucci, maybe not so much because he bet on Brazil and lost a little bit of money, but
it's true.
decent watching them. And then the Azzurri, we got a couple youngsters in there looking pretty good too. So, yeah, be interesting. Nice little change-up, though, from Juve, I got to say. Just a nice little change-up. Watch
Yep.
that tournament. So, yeah. But today, hey, we're going to wrap things up. We're going to look Alberto bombs today. I'm going to reiterate and probably elaborate on a few. I don't have anything new, but I definitely have stuff that's contradicting what we're actually hearing out there, all right? And Josh, reminder to all members above in tier 2 and tier 3 in our memberships, the WhatsApp private group chat has begun. It has started. You are entitled to be in there. Reach out to us so that we can plug you in, all right? I dropped the Berto bombs in there before we even posted anything or did any videos, so we'll check it out. Now, Dusan's replacement, already discussions coming on that. It is more and more likely, but we did hear that there's a potential for him to stay. And the funny thing about that is Skira even reported that yesterday. 2 weeks ago when I dropped the first bomb, no, that was the second one. The first bomb I dropped was when I said that Juve is looking at other coaches. That was our very first one. And at
Actually, the
that
first
same
one was the US tour.
Okay, yeah, U.S. tour, but it's not like a bomb, but yeah,
Got it
we
right.
dropped that one months before they announced that. The first actual, like, during this circumstance and whatnot that we dropped was that Juve was kicking the tires on other coaches, and that slim to none were his exact words. Okay, my source's exact words were slim to none as far as chances for Max Allegri to remain at that exact moment. The other sources, everybody else was saying that he is 100% confirmed at Juventus. It wasn't up until a few days after that, probably I think it was 3 days after that, that they started saying, okay, Juve is considering moving away from Max. So it's pretty interesting. Now, keeping in line with this, the Vlahovic thing, when we dropped that first one, his was the exact first name mentioned, and it said there is a chance for Vlahovic to stay should they move Max Allegri. And if they should do so quickly, he's not the only name of players that this could kind of keep in and prevent from moving away. So now that's interesting because the first time we heard that part come up from anybody like Romeo, Mirko, or Nicolas Gear was yesterday. And Nicolas Gear reported that saying, hey, there is a shot. Now, everybody's trying to think about the finances. Financially, we have to sell one of the big guys. We actually don't financially. We don't have to. We don't have to move Dusan Vlahovic. I think that's a bit of a misconception that's out there right now. And it's a big one. We don't have to move him. the finances are settled at where they're going to sit. And Juve's already stated, like, that's what they plan for, where these numbers are right now. Into next season, they would like to cut it some more, which obviously there's a lot of other players that they can move and they can make. But yeah, their goal is to ultimately bring it down even further. But as far as have to, they don't have to. No. There's a lot of other moves, a lot of other things going on in the works. But Vlahovic, keeping him with another coach. This is coming up on like every single daily video. And just let's get into just that matter. And we'll see how everybody in the live chat feels as well. Would you keep him for another coach? Let's take the finance out of the equation. Let's say we don't have to, because we actually don't have to, but would you keep him for another coach? Is it a shame to move him right now, or do you have to?
I'm glad I've been here every week, so Lucci should go first.
I'm going to say yes to keep him for another year. I'd love to see him under a coach with a different style. And I mentioned this in the group chat the other day. I'd like to see what he can do under someone like Conte. Conte, who gets the best out of bang average players and strikers alone. Like, look what he did with Lukaku and Eder and Pele when he was with the Azzurri. Like, I think that would be a real boost for Vlahovic. But then again, if his mentality is already shot with Juve, you don't want someone here who doesn't want to be here, and that could be a whole different situation, right? But I would definitely be willing to give him another season, see what he can do.
All right, Omer.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. No way we should let him go only playing under Allegri, because maybe that's that gives him a bad rep, and I don't think he deserves it. I think there is a player in there. I think he needs someone to pull it out. Conte might be a good one. Italiano. I mean, you name it. Everyone was just not super defensive, because even Conte, he has a tendency to bring the best out of those type of strikers. If you look at Harry Kane, even though they had an awful season, he still produced his numbers. The problem was their attack. You go back to Lukaku or whoever Lucci mentioned, their Pelé. He knows how to manage these type of strikers. I think Dusan can do great. And it will just be too sad, because we keep talking about project this, project that. This is the new phase. This is the new phase. But if everyone leaves after a year and a half, 2 season max, there's no chance you get a project going.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Now, Faraz, who has become a member, legend. Thank you for the support, my friend. Now, I just don't know why he would want to stay at Juve with all these top teams being interested in him, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. However, I keep reiterating to everybody that Juve has him locked up until 2026. We absolutely cannot and should not give any discounts whatsoever. I keep hearing in the update videos and the comments and whatnot that, well, look at his form. Who on earth is going to come in and give this kind of money or whatnot? Make no mistake about it, that his form, that's exactly that. It's those teams are trying to pounce on that and take advantage of us, and that's exactly what they would be doing, is taking advantage of us. Make no mistake about it, this guy is still up there as far as number 9 prospects go, and arguably at the top of the list as far as 9 prospects go. We absolutely should not break on price whatsoever. And if Harry Kane's going out there for 100, and that's his range there, Dusan needs to be around 90. Bottom line. And that's why I said in one of my videos, 90, 95 is what he should be going at. And everybody's going to say, well, Kane's got the stats. He's got the... It doesn't matter. He's going to be slightly behind, but you're not going to get a 9 at that age, at that prospect level and whatnot. And we paid 80 for him. We're not going to go for 60.
Yeah. And
we
what's the age difference there?
Entertain anything that's less, in my personal opinion. Guys?
Kane's nearing 30 already, too, so he has... depending a few more years left, Dusan still has his prime years plus 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 ahead of him. So
Yeah, but
you're thinking,
that's the flip side.
I think that would be a better argument for Juve. Would you rather sign a striker who's 30 nearing the end of his career, or someone who still has his prime years ahead of him and he's already performing? We've seen him, he's done it with Serbia. I know it's a different team and less pressure, all that, but he he shows that he can play and he knows what he's doing. The coaching and the situation at Juve is definitely taking a toll on him. It's not that he doesn't have any talent. So if we're selling for anything under, like Al said, 90, 95, that's got to be the target. I'm not selling him for anything under 90.
90, yeah, 90's got to be your breaking point.
Yeah.
And look, I already said, so Apex coming in here saying Dusan is not comparable to a player. Listen, he is if you're plugging him in and you need a 9 and you're an offensive team or whatnot. There are no doubts. Otherwise, nobody would even be looking at him, period. The fact that Bayern is the team looking for him, that's exactly what Bayern does.
Yeah.
They know there's a striker there. Everybody knows what the problem is at Juve. Go down the list. Vlahovic, Milik, Keane, Chiesa, Di Maria. I don't care who you pick. Nobody's doing well. And they're jumping. Mm-hmm. They're chomping at the bit to take advantage of us. Don't fall for it. Well, do not fall for it and get sucked into this thing.
You have Bayern and maybe Real, a couple teams from the EPL. You're telling me if he was that bad of a player, you'd have all these top teams, quote unquote, interested in him?
Not a chance.
So, no, I think we can all agree he's not as bad as he looked this season.
Yes.
I think we can all agree on that, 100%. Based on what Al said. Absolutely. And the rest of the attacking players. But the flip side of it is Kane is at his prime. I don't think 29 for a striker is that old, especially this type of striker. And buying someone in their prime, there's also the length of the contract. Harry Kane is at his final year. I think his contracts end in 2024. Dusan has 3 more years. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of variables. I mean, if you're paying for a finished product player in his prime, I think that should cost more than a prospect who might be there in a few years.
You're right, Omer, but the fact that you just said about his contract ending in a year, you're not going to get full price for him at that point.
Harry Kane's full price should be, in this market today, 120, 130.
And someone would probably pay that if
you're not going to get Harry Kane at $8 million a year either, though.
Yeah,
because Dusan's thing is $8 million a year. You're not going to get Kane at 8 per year.
He'd be what?
Yeah,
almost double.
So you're going to get a striker. You're going to take a striker that's early 20s. That's the guy for 9s out there for prospects. And you're going to pay less. And you're going to have him for a long time. And everybody knows. I'm telling you. If he goes to Bayern, that guy is going to bag goals like nothing. Mm-hmm. I have no doubts about it. I have no doubts about him bagging a ton of goals for Bayern.
Because no one is defending in that league. They just all-out attack all teams all the time.
Yes, but also
won't matter. Put him in Champions League. You don't think he's going to bag a bunch of champions? He's going to bag goals for Bayern.
Of course, because his confidence is going to be up here. Because he's scoring week in, week out. That's a plus. That's not something to the detriment of the Bundesliga. That's the way they play. Italy is the exact opposite. But I still think... first of all, I'm worried about the replacement. There isn't someone in the market that we actually can afford, can compete and bring in and have the amount of faith we had in Vlahovic, because Vlahovic proved himself in the league for Fiorentina. Right. I think he should get another chance. I don't think we can replace him with an adequate replacement. And if Bayern wants him, not a lot we can do to stop him. If he wants Bayern, then it's done.
I think it's different.
But what I would like to see is him wanting to stay and wanting to prove himself and take Juve to the Champions League. That will prove he's a player of the caliber we expect him to be.
Bayern wanting him and him wanting Bayern are two different things, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Bayern can want whoever the hell they want, but it doesn't mean we'll just give in and hand them whoever they want. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
but
the Lit was a different story because, like, as a clown, whatever.
He was here for 3 years. When Dusan's here for 3 years, that's a different story. The league had his time, decided it's not good for him. Allegri came in. I mean, I would think about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Haaland was Faraz was 60. He's
Wasn't
like triple.
75?
He's like triple
But
the
that
value.
was, but that was his buyout clause, and
Yeah.
it's not
He's
the
like
price. So
triple the value. He's like
yeah,
triple
Yeah.
the value
Yeah. But how much
right
money
now.
did they pay his agent? Wasn't there some kind of large agent fee in
yeah,
there?
yeah. The deal amounted to like 120 million with his
Yeah,
salary
that
and
sounds about
everything. It
right.
was,
Now,
yeah, that was a lot more.
the Dusan thing, this is another thing that ties into this, okay? If we're talking about replacements, okay, it drops down significantly, okay? Here's another big reason for me on not budging on price. And I don't, if you are trying to, if you're trying to get sucked into that and say, yeah, you know what? I think we should move him and I think we should take the cut and I think we need to take a hit and get rid of him 60, 70 million euros. No, no. You're hurting yourself even more, and you know the replacement list is already going to be weak. And now you're going to cut into your money as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying for a while, the business model at Juventus needs to change. And you know what? At some point in time, you got to be a bully. And not just a bully to them on the outside, saying, hey, you know what? You want him? That's cool. Pay up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, and you would rather go get Kane for good on you. Go get him. Because we're not going to budge. We're not going to budge. We already know the list is what? Højlund, Scamacca, couple other guys, even worse. What are we talking about here? I would much rather keep him against his will, especially if you know that there's a coaching change coming in, and say, hey, man, prove it. Like, these guys, I'd go to Dusan and I'd say, you know what? We'd have no problem moving you to the team they want. But this is how much they think you're worth. So if you want to move, suck it up and get some shit done and bring up that value. Otherwise, sorry, man. You're signed with us to 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want Juve to say. You're under contract. We get that you want Bayern, but they're not offering as much. You're under contract here and you need to play. We don't care where you want to go. We're paying you millions. You come to work. It doesn't matter if you want to work somewhere else. You still have to do your job, and that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Scoring
Now,
goals. So
the
I'm all
flip
done.
side is, do you want somebody that doesn't want to be there? And this is what many fans always fall back on, and that is a problem. That is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a delicate situation to try and do if you are going to be one of those teams that wants to be cutthroat in dealings. Like, to be honest, Lotito does it all the time. All the time he has kept players not giving a shit about their needs, their desires, whatever, and all about his bottom line.
Look at De Laurentiis. With how much I hate the guy, he knows what his player's worth, and he doesn't take $1 less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, selling Koulibaly for 40 million, Juve would have probably let him run out of contract, and that's about it. He'd leave for free. Matuidi, Higuain, all those guys that we just couldn't make money off them.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't like 37-year-olds, that no one wants. There was a market. We can't capitalize. Sandro is still here. Szczesny will probably live for free at the end. Quadrado's living for free. Bonucci will live for free at the end of his contract.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you can see Real Madrid and what they're doing today, and they said Benzema, bye-bye. Casemiro, 80 million, we're not renewing your contract.
That
Juve
was
would have
crazy.
renewed the contract.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. You need to be like this cutthroat guy when it's a business, and if someone isn't good for the business, you cut him off.
Yeah.
If someone else wants him, you demand the money you think he's worth. That's how business works. Juve always fold, and that's what I hate about what happened with the latest management.
And the other
Since
thing,
Pogba,
going back to this Bayern thing too, is Harry Kane is flat out not an option for them. So I'm just using him as a price tag reference that right now this guy's out there at 100. Us asking 90 for Vlahovic and whatnot, after we paid 80 for him, whatnot, that's not out of line. It's not out of line. And he's already
No.
said no to Bayern. They want that other kid that's probably an inch. And if Bayern ends up going that route, I have no problem in saying, okay, cool, is what it is.
Call him
And I
one.
believe
Polo,
with
yeah.
and again, I said I would empty the clip today on everything I've been hearing for the past couple weeks. Again, reiterating, the first thing I heard when they said that it's slim to none for chances for Max Allegri to remain, that same source told me a lot of it has to do with the players. Okay?
Has to be.
A lot of it has to do with the players. Since then, since we dropped that, there's now been three players, two of them veterans in that locker room that have come out that have leaked the same thing, that half of the locker room is lost on Max Allegri. Okay? That's now
I'm
three
shocked.
players from inside leaking that to multiple different sources. So I bit that one and I bit my lip on that one for a while because I only heard it from one. And only heard that the first leak was apparently Bonucci, and that one actually spread out. And the tabloids got that one. Since then, there's been two more. And now it's like I'm hearing it from other circles and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I'm going to let it out. Half of the locker room has been lost on Max Allegri. Okay?
It's
I mean,
not only that.
You
All the
can't-
Is that
players that
surprising?
left,
Is that surprising after
No, it's
seeing
not
the way
that
we
it's
play?
surprising, but for me, that's a big indicator of all of this stuff that I'm not buying into when you're listening to shows or you're looking at the news that's being reported that Juve's not going to break that contract or whatnot. And then yesterday we had the news that he's got a handshake agreement with Elkin to take a severance to break free or whatnot. And then today, immediately, you hear that Allegri is not settling for anything and they'll have to pay him up. They cannot keep him. The locker room it's gone.
Disaster.
It's done. I personally believe, and again, going into what I've heard for the past couple weeks, 24 to 48 hours after this game today, Juve will make announcements. 24 to 48 hours. That's what I've been hearing for 2 weeks. Obviously, we're going to see if it comes to fruition. I truly do believe it. I truly do believe it.
it's not only the players that are here now, it's also the players that left in the past summer, in the past Mercado. Every one of them said that they didn't mention Allegri's name out of respect, I guess, but they did say they didn't want to defend all the time, and everything we are saying about the style of play that Juve plays with Allegri.
Do you
And
guys-
now you see in the past couple of weeks the contract extensions that should be made and eventually are not made. I believe someone like Di Maria is waiting to see if Allegri is still there. Rabiot was Allegri's kid. I mean, if Allegri is leaving, Rabiot is probably leaving too.
That's
Do you
fine.
guys want to
It all
hear?
make,
Want to hear a
Yeah.
story? Want to hear a story of how far this
Yeah.
dates back?
Hell yes.
Okay,
of course.
this is from a player, an ex-player, and I'm not going to drop his name, but I'll tell you that he's become much more easy to access for me over the past couple years. Maybe that gives you a hint, okay? I'm in Canada, by the way. Okay? So without naming the player, okay?
I know it is.
Okay? So he's become very, very easy for me to access and access people that are in direct contact with him day in, day out, okay? These are the exact words out of his mouth, okay? Juve's locker room died when Cristiano Ronaldo joined the team. Okay? He said that was the actual moment when everything started to slowly crumble. He said what was happening was clear, that there was a divide starting at the top in management, and it would trickle down into the players, into Allegri, into coaching, everything. And the reason is because everything was about him. He was Agnelli's guy. When the team lost, it was out on everybody. And when they won, he was the one being praised. The locker room became split immediately. Immediately. And it was a big, big problem. Max Allegri identified that. But management was unwilling to do anything about it because of Cristiano Ronaldo and how do you move him? But that was his call. So while everybody talks about a rebuild, and this is just what's shared to me from him, okay? And this is someone that's extremely close with him, okay? Agnelli would not have any of that. Allegri wanted to move away from it. It wasn't a rebuild. It wasn't all this that you were getting here. It was he recognized the split was too much. They tried to correct that by bringing back Gigi Buffon. He could not save the locker room either. No. We lost Marotta over it. We lost Allegri over it the first time. We've lost some players through this too, and the locker room is broken. And in the end, they did a full 360 to come back. And that is why when Max came back, one of the first things he started to do was pushing him out. And when he came in, he said, we don't need Ronaldo, because his whole thing was trying to save that locker room that had been killed. The problem is he can't do it, and he hasn't been able to do it. But it started there. This was a wild story, but that's what he unleashed to this source. So, hey.
Yeah, the clues are there.
Everything's there. It all pans out. It all makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, in hindsight, yeah, that was a mistake. We didn't feel like it at the time because, signing Ronaldo was something, sort of a statement from Juve. But looking back, I don't want to say a mistake because I don't want to agitate the Ronaldo fans, because he is a phenomenal player and he did do great things with Juve.
Yeah.
It just wasn't what Juve needed at the time. Juve needed something else, and bringing him evidently was not good for Juve on any level. Financial level, sporting level, locker room, manager level, and Sarri had to deal with that and didn't know how to do that. Pirlo, it was his first job. I mean, there was no way he's going to handle that correctly. And Max came in and threw him out. I'm not surprised.
And the thing is, with this whole CR thing and hearing this story, again, and I see it in the comments too, it's not surprising at all. And a lot of us called it. A lot of us called it and said the same thing. Like, this team's slowly fallen apart ever since that move.
Yeah, and you can see Paris Saint-Germain with their big signing. Those profiles are really tough to handle.
Now, how this ties into Juventus now? Well, we now have a piece of evidence from players involved at the time stating something a lot of us have been shouting for so long now, that the culture needs to be reestablished. So when we look at coaches, Max Allegri, he may have been the one to identify it and call it out early, but the team couldn't act and couldn't move to get it done. But he's had 2 years, and even that, now with the reports of half the locker room being lost, it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. Who is the right guy to do that? And now when we start talking about this, I keep hearing the same names. I'm involved in group chats with fan clubs, official fan clubs everywhere. By the way, this season, we've been able to become the official voice and channel of all the North American Juventus official fan clubs. All right, big shout out to all of them. If you need help tracking one down near you, please reach out to us, or you can go to the official site, but join up. They're fantastic bunches. The presidents are some of the biggest diehard Juventini I've ever met in my life. We've had some join us on shows here. They're all fantastic. All right, now if we're going to talk about somebody to try and get into this. We need a builder. And while I keep hearing all these names about these coaches that everybody wants to see come in here, it has to be a builder. Has to be a builder.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it. Sounds like Conte is the man for the job. Now, I told you guys, hey, we're going out with a bang this season. I'm letting it all out. Okay? I'm letting it all out. Everything I've gathered, I'm letting it all out. Conte, when I shared the news with all of you that that my source said if he had to bet money on him, it would be Conte. Okay? And when he said slim chances to none that Max Allegri was, you know what his actual words were? There were no fucking chance that he is here next season from everything that he was gathering when he says absolutely not. Now, we have to wait and see. The finances are what continue to let everybody think it's not happening. I've been saying for a while I wouldn't be surprised if a bond comes in here, and I think they're going to wipe the slate clean. Since then, the source has said that Elkin has given Calvo the green light. Calvo only wants Giuntoli and Conte. Conte is his top name, always has been. My source felt strongly because Conte, he feels, had offered himself up to Juventus, and Calvo, Conte, the mix with Giuntoli, which Giuntoli is a done deal according to him. All right. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not. He feels it's going to happen, be this year. I'm thinking the deal is done. We might have to wait if he can't break free to next season.
Then what do you do this year?
Well, interim.
That's a problem.
For the time being, just to wait until Giuntoli comes in, which is kind of a problem. You're right.
Yeah.
But with Conte, since then, this was direct words, my source in contact with his wife who said he desperately wants the position. He doesn't want to go to any other team, any other club. He wants Juventus. Since then, another source, direct contact with Conte's brother, when asked, hey, is he actually in the mix? Because the big guys are saying there's nothing but denials. Like, is he in the mix? His brother's words, yes, there's a chance he returns. Conte is very much in the thick of things. Okay? Very much. And I laughed when we put Conte's name out there. 3 days later, he's at the stadium. La Stampa came out the morning after and said, nothing to do with the position. Do you guys believe that? Do you believe he just happened to be at the Milan-Juventus game?
No.
Not a chance.
Come on.
No.
Not a chance. Make no mistake about it. If Juventus wants Conte, he is there for them. He is there for them. And when you factor in everything that's going on, I think Juve has to consider him. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah, things are so bad that we have to. I mean, it is a fact that Conte improves every team he goes to.
Yep.
He has yet to fail in a team. He has met expectations. And even if you bring in Tottenham, they were far worse when he left. And they were shambles when he left. So
and they
yeah,
weren't great before he joined either.
Yeah, he took them from 9th place to Champions League to 4th position.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's evident. Chelsea, Inter, Juve, the Italian national team, everywhere he went, he did better than the previous guy.
I mean, especially that Italian national team. That team was terrible.
That was one of the worst Azzurri sides I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, easily the worst Azzurri squad I've ever seen.
But he had the core that he built. He still had Buffon, Bonucci, Barzali, Chiellini, Marchisio. He had something to work with.
Right.
So he may need to reestablish that, but he can do that. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
He can take teams from nowhere and do something with them.
Yeah.
So
And
if we're looking at candidates, I mean, for what we want out of the team, for what needs to be rebuilt, which is the spirit and grinta and the Juve spirit mainly, Conte is the guy. I can no one can guarantee you that with any of the other coaches
right.
that were mentioned. They're all
Yeah.
question mark.
Now,
And,
when we talk about this, a lot of the rebuttal is no, we need like a Zidane. We need like, and people are like, well, Conte can't do anything in Europe. We are facing, if we're ever in an actual true rebuild period over these past 4 years, this is the season because we're not going to be in Europe. We're not going to be in Europe. And I'm sorry, but the Allegris, the Zidans, and whatnot, like they need finished products. Like they
yeah,
need the foundation laid out. They're not builders. We need a builder from the ground up. And if we're looking at other options out there, the only other, and people are like, well, if you want a builder, why are you for Tudor? Because when it comes to culture, I actually do think Tudor does a lot in terms of culture. The nice thing about Conte is he actually does quite a bit in terms of the play and everything as well. It's one dimensional. He doesn't change from it, but setting a foundation first and then going into somebody to evolve it, take it to the next level, it makes sense. It makes sense
Yeah,
when you're going to face potentially 2 seasons without European play to give a guy like that, who out of all our targets is the only guy who's won a trophy, who has done it with more than just one team,
yeah.
and is actually a builder. He's a builder. His stimulus dies after the 2 year period, whatnot, and somebody else can come in and have that foundation of culture and everything. He is.
yeah,
Aldo,
and what do
you're
you
fighting on the builder thing, but it is. It is. And the fact that it's 2, 3 years, how many coaches could come in there and do that in a couple of years? There's very few that can have a stimulus over such a short period of time.
Hmm.
That is
and he
why that is why he's considered exactly that.
yeah, and he does it immediately.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
club he's been to, it did that immediately. It didn't need 3 years to implement his system.
I just,
And we know he's a sort of a short-term solution, 2 seasons, three max.
but that's what we
And
need right now.
Yeah.
you can never know what the options will be 3 years from now. Maybe De Zerbi will be free. You never know who could be on the market.
Hmm.
I mean, big teams are firing coaches left, right, and center. Everyone is always available, and we can always talk about them, except for Pep and Klopp. That's it.
Yeah. I
Klopp
just
took how many years with Liverpool before they were firing?
a few,
Yeah.
at least two or three for
I
sure.
think it was 3 years before they were actually.
Yeah. I just the thing about Conte, and I know he has a lot of downfalls. I just if you're looking at your other options coach wise, there's going to be no one other than Conte that will be able to get the best out of some of your mediocre players. And we know Juve is strapped for cash, so we know not any big names or superstars are going to be coming into this team. We're going to get a lot of cheaper options, maybe some younger players that are, have potential or whatever. None of them, none of Tudor, Italiano, De Zerbi, whoever you want to list, are going to be able to get the best out of these players and develop them the way Conte does with some of the players, albeit, yeah, like Giaccherini's a prime example with Italy, with Juve. That guy he was this bottom of the table kind of player, and he comes in and he played his role, and that's exactly what Conte needs. He just needs his players to play his role, and somehow it develops into a winning
Go
team.
go back and watch Juve Chelsea from Conte's second or third season. Just look at how much the extended highlights, how much Juve did in the attack with Quagliarella and Vucinic, not Tevez,
Mm,
not Llorente, not Morata. Just see how much Juve did in the first 45 minutes against Chelsea, who were then the Champions League champions. They've won it the year before. You've
Yep.
eliminated them from the group stages. First time ever, the champions were eliminated into Europa League. And he
Yeah.
played with Guardiola, and Juve kept on attacking, kept on breaking the lines. There was a system there. The entire match, Juve dominated the UCL champions.
Yeah.
That's what Conte can bring. If I'd seen that from
Exactly.
Allegri, then we'd be talking in a different way.
For sure.
And Vucinic and Quagliarella are not like the top tier of Juve strikers. He
No.
managed to pull a lot off with relatively mediocre players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
As far as Josh asking, like, who does he bring in besides Kulu? Like, Kulu's going to be purchased by Tottenham. That's
Yeah. Who
Paratici's
comes
guy
back?
and everything like that. But I will just give you guys this, that there are rumblings, okay? Because Juve did a lot for Paratici, and he was involved in that plea deal, okay? The only one that wasn't was Agnelli. Agnelli decided to break free. He rejected the plea deal, whatever. He's going to be in 11 days heading to court, okay? But there are rumblings Paratici is going to help out. Who? We have to wait and see. But Conte has some strong connections with quite a few players on that side. And it'll be interesting to see if there are any new adventures for players there. But the word out there is that Paratici owes us one, and he knows that. So
The,
it'll
the
stay
owes us a
interesting
couple.
one, the interesting one is Kulusevski, because they did train him at Tottenham, and Di Maria is leaving. If Conte is the guy, we might see Kulusevski staying.
I just don't know where he'd play though.
Yeah, I
Where
don't
like
know.
where the hell? Like,
I don't know. It's too
Listen,
much to worry about. But I
I
just
don't
letting
hate him,
everyone
but
know, like, Conte is very much in the mix. Very, very much. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised one bit. But I'm not buying into this whole Max is staying and Juve's not going to pay to get rid of him. I think right now that would be asinine for this club. A club that's running on life support, is on fumes at the moment, and already has a major disconnect with their fan base. I think it would be crazy. And this is not just fans on Twitter, fans on social media. Like in Italy, in Turin, they're asking for Max's removal at the post. Like it is happening. It is
I mean,
happening.
you gotta be, you know, to not think that way. To look at Juve in the past 2 seasons and said, "Yeah, I'm satisfied,"
mm-hmm.
and we can't change 12 players in the roster. We just can't.
Yeah. You can't do
Sorry,
it.
manager has to take the fall.
Well, looking from a management perspective, like what are you worse off doing? Selling potentially your two best up and coming players in Chiesa and Vlahovic by keeping Max because they don't want to play under him and go all along with whatever he's got going on, or are you better off paying Max his severance or whatever they kind of come to and keeping potentially your two best players for the next 5 to 10 years? Look, if you're looking at the future, which is we're talking about this project, you're better off biting the bullet now, paying Max just to get lost, and keeping your potentially best players and building off of them, and developing more. Like it
Now,
seems like a no brainer to me.
this is the thing too. There are pros and cons to every single target we have at the moment at coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's people like I think if you had to name one that makes the most sense, it's Conte. But does he have cons? Absolutely. But so does everybody. There is no perfect choice for Juventus right now. If you want to take Zidane, let's say we can get Zidane tomorrow. I don't think the team's nearly established for Zidane. Not nearly enough established for Zidane. You want to take Tudor?
Team.
You want to take Tudor? I like Tudor. I really, really do. But you're telling me Tudor has no cons, Jeremiah? Absolutely he does, because he's had a couple teams where he's done absolutely nothing with.
Mm-hmm.
And Marseille finishing third, that's where they finish. They finish between second and fifth, year in, year out. They're in that range.
Another thing with him, although I like Tudor, I don't mind.
And I like
coming in,
Tudor.
is
And I
that-
would be happy with Tudor to come in.
Yeah,
I'm hesitant on Conte. And I've been very strong on anti-Conte, but if we're considering everything and what's going on and no Europe and all this, it still makes the most sense. But Tudor's got concerns. There is no perfect choice for Juve here. None. Omer.
Yeah, Tudor so far have left his team after one season to Max. So the argument we make for Conte is the same for Tudor. He's been an assistant at Juve for 1 year, then at Verona for 1 year, now at Marseille for 1 year, and he left. I don't know what he did in Croatia before that, but it wasn't long since his managerial career is not so long.
But he never sticks around
Um,
anywhere. Like I don't. Is
It's
that
weird.
that's not a
yeah,
not yeah not a good sign in
maybe.
my opinion.
Yeah, but maybe he's just moving up the ranks because Marseille are better than Verona, and
Fair.
he might be looking to establish his credentials and then stay somewhere for more than 1 year.
Hmm.
I don't think it's that bad. We just don't know. If he leaves next season, then a lot of options open. A lot of options will be closed by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
And we go back to his time at Verona. When I talk about do I see him as a builder, a bit in terms of culture, because if you look at that Verona side, talent wise, nothing special. But they gave all the big teams problems that season. But they absolutely crumbled against soft opposition that's right there with them and whatnot. So it's very, very strange with Tudor and Marseille. I mean, that's where they're at. That's where they're at. And they finished rather poorly, but his future has been in question too over the period where they started struggling. But I actually, to be honest, regardless of the source and what he's saying and everything, I actually do believe it's going to be Tudor, everybody. I think it's
Interesting.
between Conte and Tudor, but I think ultimately, I think Tudor might be getting it.
What about Gattuso? We heard Gattuso's
Oh,
name yesterday for the
God.
first time.
I had to laugh. Like, there's not a chance. Not a
No, no, I
fucking
think
chance.
that's
Not a chance. Not a
I think
chance.
that's exaggerated.
No.
Yeah.
Now, we did bring up Chiesa, and there is a growing group of Juventini saying we should sell Chiesa. Fellas, live chat. How do we feel about that? I'm flat out no. Not now.
I mean,
But there's a lot of concerns. How do you feel?
if anyone says yes, I'll punch them in the throat. How about that?
Easy.
Especially not for 35 million, which makes absolutely no sense, which was reported earlier this morning. Like I said previously, do you really want to suffer under Max and potentially sell your two best up and coming players, or do you want to stick with the young talent you have, and find a coach that is willing to work with that and improve the team? So I'm a hard no.
And no, there are fans saying, I would be fine, literally telling me this. I have the receipts. I am fine with selling Chiesa. I am not fine with it. I am not. Omer.
No, that's a hard no. I mean, there's no need to elaborate.
Yeah,
Just
straight
flat
to the
out
point.
no. Yeah, I mean, if you lose both those players in the same mercado,
Oh,
we can't
full,
afford. We brought them when we could afford somehow to bring them. Now we can't because all the eyes are on us, so we can't make those deals. Spread them out. Everything will be checked and tested multiple times. Juve are under a microscope. They can't afford to make those type of deals anymore. So if you do sell them, you're not bringing anyone in their caliber to
Yeah, their
replace them.
thought process that I get consistently in these discussions is he is not the same. You could tell in his play he doesn't have the same explosiveness. He's not the same guy. We are going to lose more by keeping him. Now's the time to move him. For me, absolutely not. Now is not the time to move him. If I want to look just straight at a performance of him, I could see the growth from when he first came in and was getting little cameos to the last
yeah.
part of seeing him, and it's definitely there. But they're calling him fragile, whatnot. And I'm like, I don't see this fragile thing, because other than the major injury that he's come back from and him being nursed back in slowly, and we got to think about this too. He was watched under a microscope, and rightfully so, because if you're going to look at this Juve squad and you want to look at real assets, he and Vlahovic, Bremer now are essentially it for true assets. Okay? Yes, we have Fagioli, we have Miretti, we have Locatelli, but like true top assets. That is it. So if you want to talk about why you probably have doubts and think he's fragile, make no mistake about it. It's because Juventus was scared as fuck, because they know if something goes down, there's one less true asset that they actually have. And if this kid's career goes to shit, Juve would be even more trouble. So make no mistake about it. But as far as him and how he looks like it's coming back quite nicely, to be honest. He might have to adapt his game a little bit, but don't forget, we have a coach that makes us believe that this roster is mid-table. Okay? It's not the fact. Chiesa gets the ball and has 3 players on him instantly every single time and has nothing to do but try and take guys on, do whatever. But like, he still looks good, and he looks like he's getting better and better and better. And don't forget, he did have to deal with sports psychiatry and has been seeing that to try and help get through this. But I have no problem.
It doesn't help when you are coming back from a major injury. You're stranded on an island with whatever system we got going on. Your coach is playing you in 3 different positions that are not your preferred position. There's no familiarity there for him, for whoever's around him. Like, he's coming in completely blind. I don't understand what people expect him to do by himself. Same goes for Dusan, and I've been hard on Dusan as well. But these guys are like, there's no support there, especially going forward. Okay, long ball to Dusan, hold on to it for 20 seconds while everyone comes and helps you. Like, there's 3 defenders on him already. What's he supposed to do? Like, there's no way we're going to be able to, and we can see it in our results, that we can't score more than 1 or 2 goals every game because there's no cohesiveness. There's no chemistry. Chiesa's one day he's playing right wing back. Next he's playing left mid. Then he's playing second striker. Like, what do you expect from the guy? He needs to stay in the same position, in his preferred position, to get back to where he was.
Only a madman would play Chiesa as right wing back.
That
Out
frustrates
of
me
everything
so
Max
much.
has done, that's probably the worst one.
Eric's got a great point here. A full off season,
I agree,
from recovering would probably go the next bit and see. Now, for all of you that doubted me, my friend James coming in here, I have a feeling Chiesa will become Pogba. And if there's 70, 80 million sale, take it. And he will also duck a throat punch to see it. So there you go. I told you there are some that are concerned about Chiesa, okay? James saying, happy to see him under another manager, just business sense. And that's what it really comes down to, is the fear he's not going to be the same guy. Aldo brings up, imagine selling Del Piero after that was a reality. It was between Del Piero and Zidane, because they did have doubts about Del Piero. Ultimately, we know the move that was pulled off, and it literally came down to value. And Zidane's wife helped push that one over the line, but that was very much a possibility. Hey, we'll see what happened. But
he was great in Fiorentina. He was great under Pirlo. He was great under Mancini in the national team. It's only under Allegri that he underperformed. Some of it is due to the team, the tactics, but there is a common thing here.
You don't have to convince me, man. You don't have to convince me.
I will.
Now, everybody, let's get those likes up. And again, thank you for all the support. Hey, memberships are open. Reminder, if you're in Tier 2 and Tier 3, you are entitled to join us on the AJC Army private WhatsApp group chat. All right. And I dropped the bombs there before we put them out on social media and videos and everything. So you can get some good stuff in there. And the banter is absolutely awesome. Other than Lucci and Luca nattering at each other constantly. God damn it. But no, it's great stuff. Seeing those of you who have got involved there, it's always a good time in there. Now, 4 new designs for the merch store if you choose to support us that way, and they are available and 20% off, I think, for another 2 days. But check it out. It's in our YouTube store there, and there's some beauties. The Amici di Nessuno, the Gobo DNA that just got released, and a North American variant. Okay, great stuff there. That's showing the link up and the connection between the AJC and the official fan clubs of North America. Find one near you, become a member. And even if you're outside of North America, find an official fan club. We're friends with the ones in Serbia, Australia. Like, there's so many beauties out there. Join up. A lot of great perks. And we're going to actually do something special with them to kick off the next round of memberships and get ready for the next season and the summer tour. Final match of the season. Okay, we're talking about all this. We got to wait to see what happens.
Forgot we have a match today. Honestly.
We have to wait to see what happens tomorrow and see if the judgment day comes down. Okay, and YFG coming in saying got the Storm the Barn in there early. Storm the Barn, you guys get them going whenever you want. We'll have some question sessions. We're going to get to this game. There's not a whole lot to tackle here. Udinese was red hot out of the gate. Okay, They're finishing up rather soft and weak and whatnot. Even Sotil was being mentioned as a potential option for Juve, and I'm like,
after 2
slow
months,
down, everybody, slow down, okay? But hey, they're finishing up pretty rough. Dropping the last 3. Juve's dropped their last 3 all competitions. Last 2 in Serie A. Last victory came against Cremonese in the 2-0 victory. Look, we got to win, and we need some help to at least get into a European spot. That will then hopefully force UEFA's hand to at least include this season in one of our penalty years. And then we'd just be looking at the one beyond. I expect 2-year bans, including this one. If we can get in there, we have to get in there. But as our fear was against Empoli, is a very easy situation for Juventus to crumble and fail. I told you guys I was going to empty the clip. I've been struggling to make sense of this, but I heard the team is going to drop this one today as well and not show on old Max Allegri, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I think we will finish out the season, and I think we will beat Udinese. And I'll go as far to give you my prediction right now that it's going to be a 2-1 win for Juventus. And we'll get in there. I don't know if we're going to get the help we need. I believe it's Atalanta against Monza. And Monza could do that. It could do that, but we'll see what happens. Udinese has nothing to play for, so I would hope we can see this one through, get that victory. I'm expecting 2-1. We'll get into tiebreakers.
I actually think Roma are the ones that are going to drop points. Just because they played in...
So they play Spezia at home.
Yeah,
Spezia are in a relegation battle. They need to fight for
Spezia
survive.
needs to win.
Yeah, and Roma are after the final on Wednesday. They played 120 minutes. They're not going. Their spirit is broken. The season is over for them. They're in Europe no matter what. I think it doesn't really matter. I don't know what happens if Fiorentina win the Conference League. Then how does that affect the table? And if Inter wins the Champions League, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios that still can happen regardless if Juve win and the other drop points.
Yeah.
But I think Roma will be the ones to drop points, not Atalanta.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
as long as one of them drop. Yeah. it's
Roma
there for the
definitely
taking.
dropping points according to Forza Juve because Spezia fighting for survival. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Everybody's calling Roma to be the one to drop the points. So let's see what happens. First and foremost, we have to get the job done. And Storm the Barn coming in from us. Yes, we are going to be giving a kit away. I will let you all know, okay, how we're going to distribute this one, okay? It's going to be good. Everyone's going to get fair game, and we're going to announce tomorrow on the podcast. If you guys all round up the troops, we're like 50-something away from 4K, and I said I'd give 2 away if we hit 4K by the end of kickoff. So go out there, retweet the tweet, get the post out there, share the content. Hey, 4K, we hit 4K before final whistle. 2 kits. 2 new kits, okay? Guys, we got some Storm the Barn questions coming in here. Let's get the predictions out of the way. I gave you 2-1. You're muted, Omer.
Sorry, I just want to say good luck to the Juve women's team. They're playing their final soon. The game's starting, the cup final. So good luck, ladies. Hope you make Lex happy.
Let's go. And Eric bringing up Gasparini's last match as the manager too. So Tudor is apparently high on that list as well for Atalanta.
Possibly
very much
Mourinho's
an
last
option, and
match
I could
too.
see that.
Mourinho, good shout.
Yeah.
Possibly his last match too.
Now, projected lineup for this one.
I
We
mean,
should take a
this-
look at that for any tiebreakers and whatnot. Szczesny, Gatti, Bonucci, Danilo, Quadrado, Locatelli, Rabiot, Miretti, Kostic, Chiesa, Milik. Labeled as a 3-4-1-2. Miretti playing behind Chiesa, Milik. I think it might be more of a 3-4-2-1. Nonetheless, that is our lineup. I'm going to tell you right now, we talked
I don't
about him
like
a
it.
lot. Get it going. Chiesa's going to bag one today. So I'm going to go 2-1. Chiesa finds the back of the net. And another one is maybe we get some interesting chants from the crowd about our manager. I have a feeling.
Wait, aren't we away today?
Yes, the
We
curva
are.
will be there. Though. So
Yes.
I think you might get something. So those are my tie breaks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Omer. I'm gonna think about this.
Yes, so although I wore the wife beater today, last time this season, unfortunately, I don't think Juve win it today.
Oof.
Awful seasons have a tendency to end on a bad note, and I don't think Juve are going to push through. What Al just said might make me feel even stronger about it. The team's not performing, the crowd is hostile. Udinese are never easy for Juve. Well, they are sometimes, but you never expect them to be. And I think it's a 2-1 Udinese, actually.
2-1 Udinese.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I expect Max to be fired by Thursday. No, Tuesday, Max.
Tuesday.
48 hours after the game.
48 hours. See ya.
So we gotta wait for your tiebreaker till Thursday.
Oh no, that's just a gamble I have. My tiebreaker.
that's just as a
would
Brilliant.
be-
just bugging you.
I think Bremer gets a goal and breaks the record, Bonucci's record. Oh, he's not playing. Sorry, Bonucci's playing.
I don't think
so-
he's. Yeah,
No, he's not playing.
we're definitely
Yeah,
conceding with
so-
Bonucci playing.
Yeah. So Chiesa goal, I guess. Safe bet.
All right.
And-
Luca or Lucci.
And
Sorry,
Udinese
Roman.
start the match. That's my second. one,
Okay.
The coin toss.
Lucci. It's all on
I
you,
kinda-
man.
I'm listening to Omer now, and he's kind of was pointing me in the opposite direction. I was gonna actually say, I kind of wanted to say a 3-1 win. You know what? Last game of the season. I'm gonna go a little bold. I'm gonna say a 3-1 Juve win. Chiesa will bag one for sure. I think we'll see Illing come in the second half and provide, I'm going to say provide an assist, not a goal. And they will be 3 yellow cards.
3 yellows.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope.
I expect
I
Max
mean-
gone tomorrow, everybody. I'm just going to lay that one out there.
Less than 24 hours after the match, eh?
Yeah.
What would be best is if they announce it right after the game.
No.
That'd be
Bayern
great.
would do it on the sideline. Just
Yes.
walk
Yeah,
over,
go
handshake.
cutthroat.
Go the
Ciao.
Byron way.
Now, YFG coming in here. I think Chiesa should work on his play at right wing because I think Illing Jr. is a great talent. Illing at left wing, Chiesa at right wing can be a real danger on the wing. Your guys' thoughts on this? Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Not
Yeah.
even a question.
Yeah,
I
still
believe
prefer him on the
Illing
right.
said he's okay with playing right wing as well.
Yeah, in
So
which
they
case you
can
would have
switch.
2 inverted wingers if Chiesa is at left and Illing at right. But yeah, the thought is with the inverted is they cut into where they can fire, right? Depending
Right.
on their strong foot. And that's why Chiesa on the left is nice because you can come in there and let him rip. But Illing likes the right wing as well. Is Illing left-footed? I can't remember.
I think he
Yeah.
is.
I believe
Yeah,
he
Illing
is,
is.
which puts him on cutting into his strong shooting side too. So either way, I'm fine. And I've always been fine with Chiesa on right or left, but I think he's way better on the left. That's just me personally. But
You and
absolutely
Aldo
no
were-
problem with this. This should be something that we look at. We've all been yelling for Illing to get more minutes all season.
I don't know why he's not playing today. Perfect. And Perrin's another one. Like, poor guy can't buy a match.
What about Pizzo, man? Pizzo got in the extension. Get him in there. Let's
That
go.
too, yeah.
Come on.
has to
But
get in. Has to get in.
Illing's been starved for minutes all season. And I think it actually ended up hurting Kostic, to be honest. I think Kostic with more breaks be better. But Kostic,
Yeah.
It didn't do any favor to each of them. I mean,
yeah, it
both
didn't
of them
do any
suffered
favor to
from it.
either of them.
100%.
But as with all the information we have so far, what is your realistic expectations for next year's coach and results?
I think it depends on the coach.
First.
I'm the same. Okay. My expectations are progress. Okay. Progress. We can't go into the end like this time next season and still have zero chemistry in one of the phases of the game. You got to have it all. You got to be able to clamp down defensively when you need to. You got to know how to score goals. You got to have your key guys as your key friggin' players. So my expectations are for the coach to put it together. As far as results go, I truly do believe Serie A is not pulling away from Juventus. Juve is tripping on their own dicks. We got to figure it out. Serie A is not getting away from Juve. Juve is stumbling.
Yeah, I think the rest of the teams above us are ahead in their own projects. The question of managers is still up in the air. We don't know who's managing Napoli. If Inzaghi stays at Inter, what's going on with Pioli? So that will answer the question. I expect Juve to just stop being a doormat for every team who desperately needs a win.
Yeah.
Because Juve have provided that to almost everyone
Lately.
this
Yeah.
season. Be back to being that team everyone hates to play against. Not that team that, just sits back and waiting for the other team to attack them. And that's what I'm expecting. Let's be realistic. Third, second place, I would be fine. That would be progress, actually.
I definitely expect a fight for the title next season. I think this season, flash in the pan, and we've seen it with the teams that have been taking it since we've been stumbling, it's interchanging. Nobody's convincing me. And even the winners are going to be a big, big change going into next season. Yeah. So I expect us to fight for it. I really, really do. Really, really do. And there's some calling Scudetto, and Coppa Italia very much, again, semifinals to final, for sure. For sure. Mm-hmm. No European play.
Exactly. That plays a huge role.
Let's get in there. Let's get in there. If we get a European spot coming in from Josh, then get banned, does the next team up Serie A get that spot, or does UEFA take that spot away from Serie A? Yeah, it would in turn just wipe us out from that spot in the table, and it just goes down the line. So next team
Yeah,
up.
so but there is a limitation there because you can only have 5 teams from each country in the Champions League. Okay, there is a limitation on teams in certain competitions. We can't have anyone. I mean, if Roma would have won the Europa League and
Yeah.
Inter not winning the Champions League, they're not getting another spot because both of them
Oh,
qualified.
I actually heard contradicting. That was weird.
No,
At
that's
one
the
point,
rule.
somebody did say that if yeah, they would still get a spot. I can't remember how they explained it, whatnot. But one way or another, if Juve is in a spot and they're removed, that next team spot gets it. Unless you're saying somebody wins it, but Fiorentina could win it, but they're in 7th place or whatever. So if they win it, that does remove that position, is essentially what Omer's saying
right.
Yeah.
for conference or whatnot. But yeah, obviously the Roma defeat there kind of kills it for Europa or whatnot, but that spot would become available to those guys. It's whatever. It is what it is. 2-year ban coming for Juve. I totally am expecting that.
Yeah.
Send Miretti, Sule on a loan, gain more experience. So I've been
Miretti,
saying
yeah.
Miretti would benefit. We do also have to keep in mind what happens with our roster, though.
I'd keep Sule though, to be honest,
I
just
don't
because
know
we don't have many options.
Yeah, it depends who we sign, and
Yeah.
then we can decide if he's staying. Marco Piazza is coming back, so maybe he's the guy.
Oh,
Or you don't want to know. It's better if you forgot about him.
Man. Piazza? Marco Piazza coming up on the show again?
Yeah, apparently he had an extension like a year ago, and
oh
I'm
yes,
and I'm
that's
shocked as to
right.
why. Why? Who did it?
I
What was
remember
behind it?
that.
What was the idea?
It was an automatic renewal, Omer. Come on.
That
The
wasn't anything else.
Pariatici
Oh,
classic.
You get to choose a sporting director and a manager and a player for next season. Who do you
Oh,
pick?
we just discussed it. I mean, if I can pick just anyone,
Yeah.
bring me Marotta back and bring me Klopp.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone? Yeah. Realistic one, Gintoli and possibly Conte. Yeah.
I mean, I like who we're being linked with what you just said, Omer. So keeping in my, realistic views, I think that would probably be my go-to. And I know Al mentioned they're they've wanted to work together previously. They have a good relationship. So I think that might be a good tandem right there. I could see them working well together. So sign me up.
Yeah. Man. Any
Oh,
sporting director, a manager, and a player.
I forgot the player part.
Realistically, I think Gintoli is tops for us. Tops. Connections in Italy, in Serie A, whatnot. Really solid business model. He's tops realistically. The Marotta thing, interesting, but I'm also pissed off about a lot of extensions that had to do with him too. So I'm gonna stick it
Good
with
point.
Gintoli. Any manager. Oh man. I eventually want to see us get to, because I actually do think at some point in time this guy's really gonna be something sweet, which is Italiano. Like I actually think if he goes with Napoli, that's gonna be very very interesting to see. him with Napoli taking over from Spalletti after the title and whatnot. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how he deals with that. This is going to be his first like true test. But Klopp, to take Klopp, like Omer takes Klopp, but if I could handpick anyone just because of the way they play and everything, and it'd be Pep. Be Pep. If I could get in a fantasy world, whatever, it'd be Pep for me. But I know we would never have the funds to.
You know how much money he's gonna want to spend if he ever came here?
Oh, I know. But he would be my guy just in terms of how his teams play, and I'm all about it. Control the game, dominate offensively. That's it.
There is an important thing about him. I mean, if we're sidetracking from Juve for a second, he keeps finding ways to reinvent himself and tweak his game just a bit and not hold on to it too long so teams won't get it. That's what Conte, Allegri, and all the rest have failed to do. I mean, he's going to play 3-2-4-1 in the next game. 4 attacking midfielders. When have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
And it works. That's the thing about him. That's why he's still relevant no matter where he goes and who the players are.
I mean, did you see their goal yesterday? Like a minute in?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. The Mark Goldbridge reaction is just amazing on that one. Good old Goldbridge. Karma comes back to fucking get him all the time.
Player-wise, I would like to see us target Singo, though. Our right flank needs a lot of work, and he would be definitely a big help.
Yeah. Nagelsmann coming in from Eric. He says, bring back Beppe, Nagelsmann, and Andre Silva.
The flop from Milan? That Andre Silva?
Is Lucci...
but he hasn't been a flop in the past 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Lucci the Pinso of HAC? Makes good. Lucci can't even make a waffle, man, in a fucking toaster. No, he's definitely not making good espressos.
I'm a great dressing room guy. I'm a bring the morale up. I'm definitely.
I would have to say the Pinso's between probably Lucci and Luca, and they both natter like.
That's what keeps us relevant.
Probably a tie between them two, eh? The Pinso.
I'll take
Omar,
that.
what do you think? Who's the Pinso?
I'd give it to Lucci because Luca is not the guy who, makes everyone happy.
Yeah.
He's on the other hand.
It's my boy Omer.
He's on the other hand.
This is the negative one.
Yeah. Entices everyone and then leaves.
We give Luca is so fucking emotional. That guy cannot let go of any player. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And we give him the gears. And for everybody, you guys, like I'm telling you, all the ones that are in that WhatsApp for the private one, the members, if you're in tier 2, tier 3 YouTube memberships, you're going to enjoy the ribbing and the roasting Luca gets. Yeah. It's gold. It's gold. But yeah, that guy can't let go. Like, I swear to God, like any little thing, Dybala, Delict, like whatever. I'm like, crickets. Nobody is fucking talking about them, and all of a sudden it gets into it. It's like, dude, let go. Let it go. Take the poster down from the ceiling, brother. Let them go.
Bed.
Yeah, if I have to compare him to someone, I'd say he's the Allegri of the team.
Luca the Allegri. Oh man,
is that a burn? I didn't want to burn.
Yeah,
Luca,
that's
don't
definitely
take it the wrong way.
Gonna hurt.
Alex, it's our YouTube memberships. You have to be on a desktop to do it, and then join, subscribe, be a member. There's a bunch of perks in there listed, and then yes, the private WhatsApp's goal. But Luca being called the Allegri by Omer is just class. That is.
I was actually gonna call him the Dybala because he's always crying like Dybala does. But that's
he's gonna be so bitter. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. We should clip all of this. We gotta clip all of this now. 100%. Andrew, you may have already covered if we don't qualify for European football at this year, not even Conference League, anyway, if it gives 2-year ban, would the ban start this year? No, if we are not in a position, that's why I was saying it's pretty important right now.
Yeah.
We have to get it so that this would count as one of those seasons. Otherwise, it would begin the following. I am like 100% sure that's what UEFA is going for. So the whole thing that was being reported is Sefrin was upset that the FIGC did not include the ban, and at that moment in time, we were in a position and we were holding a position down. So they were upset that the FIGC saw no more points to completely get us out of that spot so that he could implement a 2-year ban that would start next season. Now, of course, we've done some damage to ourselves in the games against Empoli and Milan. Now it's up to this final weekend worth of matches to see if we can get into that spot. So we have to wait and see. We need a little bit of help. Everybody is expecting Roma to drop points or whatnot. But hey, we're mixed on the panel here about what Juve is going to do. Let's go out at least with a solid showing and win the game. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Win the game. Have a good showing. Wrap up this season. This season has been one to forget. But
Nightmare.
regardless of that, and there should be... The watch along is in question because my own personal game with my team is potentially like 45 minutes after kickoff, but it might get pushed back. I'm still waiting to hear. There might be a watch along, all right? If not, the season's been fantastic, at least for us. No matter how the team does and whatnot, you guys are amazing. We thank you for all the support. We've been able to do a lot this year, become the official voice and channel of North American Juventus official fan clubs. We've been able to bring to you a legend, Roberto Bettega. There is a lot more coming as far as ex-players and legends and interviews and whatnot, and a lot of great stuff planned. Now, how you can win that kit that we're going to give away to a lucky subscriber on the next daily update video, which tomorrow we will have the post-match podcast and the wrap-up session, okay? Already slated to be myself and Anthony. Maybe someone else will join. And then we'll do a year-end wrap, okay? Something fun involving the big crew, okay? Then I have one plan with Bianconeri Zone, and then we have some good stuff with more prizes given away that the official fan clubs are putting down on the line from our friends at fandomculture.ca, okay?
Yeah,
But
and there's always a chance for pop-up podcast if something
oh, we will
extraordinary
be
happens.
doing that through the off season. Obviously, I'm going to still do
Yeah.
all the daily update videos, and we will do weekly recaps and just get together and chat. So there's going to be a lot of content. The summer tour, I'll be in San Fran. There'll be content coming at you nonstop. There might be some events that I'll be getting to as well that I could share with all you. But how are you going to get this kit? The next daily update video, which is probably going to be Tuesday, you're going to have to comment. Everyone is going to get a shot at commenting, okay? Once that video is released, and you need to name me the player, because I've given a lot of hints. So this is probably going to favor those of you that are diehards with the AJC Army, but I've given hints. I need you to name me one out of the 2 players that I'll be interviewing come October. And I'll leave it that easy that you can name either one of the 2. I was going to say just the one, but you get a shot if you get either one of those 2 players right. And the first one under the video, the daily update video Tuesday, that names it, will be the winner of the 23-24 home kit. All right? There you have it. Good luck, everybody. You guys got the word first. I'm going to drop it on Twitter, Instagram, everyone. Everyone will have a fair chance because it'll be Tuesday. But again, thank you for all the support. All right? Absolutely appreciate it. You guys are the best out there. And we thank you very much. There's still a lot of content to come through for the off season. And I expect it to kick off with a bang tomorrow. Tomorrow or Tuesday, we should be getting some big, big news, according to my sources. But hey, we will see, right or wrong. And if he's wrong, you bet your ass I'm going to roast him. I'm going to roast him because he's been so confident with me and whatnot. And hey, I'm not the journalist out there. So I got no skin in the game. I could be wrong. I'm like the weatherman out here. I'm just giving you what I hear. And I don't care if it's wrong. If it's wrong, okay, cool. Whatever. I'm not a journalist, so I have no problems with it. But we're going to definitely have fun with it, and I'm going to be cooking Lafont if he was mistaken. But it's going to be fun to see what goes down. I think changes are needed. We've all agreed. Let's see what the team does. Today, whether you're with me on the watch along, if it goes down or not, enjoy the final match. Take it for what it is, and we always move forward, all right? Frustrating season. Getting ready to wrap up, hopefully with a win. Let's hope for better. I always say Juventus will never die. We're going to get back. We're going to get back and take over what is rightfully ours. We've had a couple skid marks on the titles winners lists, okay? Just make sure that trophy doesn't get stolen, Napoli, okay? Because we're going to come back and take what's ours, all right? Fino alla fine, Forza Juve, no matter what, okay? Ciao tutti. Thank you again.
Yeah.